Hello, welcome to our virtual yoga class. My name is Vanessa and I'm here to guide you in your practice. Let's begin class by laying on your back. So take a moment to find your way. To lay on your back, you have the option of keeping your knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, or you can lengthen your legs, shift into a relaxed pose here. Hands can rest on your belly, chest. Hands can frame your hips. And then start to gather your breath. Now I emphasize gathering our breath is because we are shifting our attention to our breath, our bodies. We're just seeing where that breath is. And then take a purposeful, intentional breath, inhaling a little longer than you're accustomed to. Exhaling, perhaps sighing it out. Another breath here or two. Notice that we're cultivating a practice, shifting our attention to our breath as we're working on our physical, mental, emotional bodies. This is a holistic practice. And they're all informing each other. We go back to the breath throughout the class. So we'll begin class by coming into a twist. So as you're laying here, if your knees aren't bent, bend your knees. Your feet will float off the floor. We're going to drop our knees towards the right, bring our arms out to a T, and then drop your head towards the left. Soften and relax your body. Take a comfortable breath, and you're standing purposely here on the neck, shoulders, spine, especially around the hips, imagining your knees fall further towards the floor. Noticing that in these passive poses, we're practicing letting go, and we can apply that physically, mentally, emotionally. We can make that connection there. If we're more purposeful about it, it doesn't just happen. Three breaths here in your twist. Make sure your head and your knees are facing opposite directions for full benefit of this twist. And the knees come back to center. You'll drop your knees towards the left and now turn your head the opposite direction towards the right. Head and knees face opposite direction. Arms are at a T. And then you're noticing your spine, shoulders, hips. Perhaps imagining your knees fall further towards the floor. Gather a comfortable breath. It's harder to invite a full deep belly breath in a twist, so just find a comfortable breath here. Three more breaths here in your twist. And the knees will come back together. Feet will float off the floor. Grab your knees, round your spine, forehead towards your knees, chin towards chest, hold. And then drop your head back. Inhale. And now exhale, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards your chest. Hold. Drop your head back. Inhale. Exhale and hold. So you're holding here, you're still breathing. You're just holding the pose. And then drop your head back, round your hands on the mat, and then shift up into your seat. You can sit in a cross-legged position or on your ankles. If you're in a cross-legged position, notice which leg is most forward. That means that you usually have a tendency to sit a certain way and then shift it out so it's the opposite leg forward. We've opened a little bit throughout the spine. Let's bring our shoulders up towards our ears and then draw them down. Focus on our shoulders. Shoulders up towards your ears, draw them down. Two more times. Hands lightly on your knees, and then purposely bring your shoulder blades closer together as you draw your shoulder down. Take a breath, inhale, exhale. And now start to drop your chin towards your chest. Let your head hang here, hold. Bring your head back to neutral. Take your chin towards your right shoulder, hold. And then opposite shoulder towards your left. Lift your chin up towards the ceiling. And then back to center. Drop your chin towards your chest. And then roll your head from one shoulder to the next, either full circle or just half a circle. Placing attention to neck, shoulders, and upper back. Notice if any spots feel more sore or more tense. And then also recognize that when we move throughout our day, we're less aware of our bodies. We tend to tighten up our bodies, hold some tension, and the neck and shoulders often hold a lot of that. So you're taking a moment here to address that. You can also work on meditation if you prefer to bring your head back to a neutral position. Otherwise, we're going to stay here another 5 to 10 breaths. Really give a lot of time here to open up neck and shoulders. And then head comes back to neutral. One shoulder shrug, shoulders up towards your ears, draw them down. And then together, let's inhale here, exhale, side up. Noticing by welcoming your breath, we're welcoming our experience. Inhale again. Exhale, side out. It is a skill to slow down and just to be with the breath. We'll shift now into our tabletop. Let's open up a little bit here. Once again, throughout the spine. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, round your spine. Cat pose. 2 more times. Inhale. Moving at your own pace, moving to your third round, inhaling up and exhaling, rounding your spine. Place extra attention around the tailbone, lower back, another area that carries tension and can carry some soreness. Now lift your right leg, bend your right knee, and then stack your hips. We're opening here, glutes and hips. Now activating the core by rounding your spine. Right knee towards our right elbow, chin towards chest. Press through your palms and hover. One more time. Lengthen that right leg. It's parallel to the floor. Bend your knees, stack your hips. Right knee towards that right elbow, chin towards chest. Hover. Then I'll drop your knee. One round. Inhale up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. Opposite side, we lengthen our left leg, bend our knees, stack our hips. Round our spine, knee towards left elbow, chin towards chest, core is active. Lift your leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Notice your glute here, hip, even your lower back. And now round your spine. Knee towards elbow, chin towards chest, hover. And then at your own pace, you're dropping your knee, inhaling up into cow and cat poses. You can move with your breath. Full body awareness, you're noticing your fingertips, your palms, tops of the feet on the floor. Gathering that inhale in your cow pose, exhaling, rounding your spine, making sure you're tucking your chin towards your chest and releasing tension around that upper back, neck, spine, upper spine. One more round. Once you've taken that round, shift into your downward facing dog. We're going to lift our hips up towards the ceiling. We're in this upside down V. You're breathing from your heels, toes, up your legs, and then through your hips, down your spine, all the way down to your fingertips. See if you can imagine breathing with your body. From downward facing dog, shift into a plank pose. Legs are long, core is lifted up towards the ceiling. I'm pressing through my palms here, very purposeful here, and activating the core, quads, glutes, and then lift up downward facing dog. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. We're going to ground that left hand or fingertips on the floor. You can also take your hands to that left shin, your left thigh. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. There's a lot going on here. There's a bend to your left knee. You can intensify the stretch around hips and hamstrings and glutes by applying some extra pressure on your heel, your right heel. I'm going to lengthen that leg. Don't forget to breathe. And then release. Opposite side. Generous bend to that right knee. Lengthen that right arm. And then release. Let's sweep our arms up overhead. We're grounding through our heels. Arms lift. Hands in front of our heart center. Inhale here and exhale side out. Release your hands. Balance, two-legged balance. We lift our arms, palms up towards the ceiling. Lift your heels halfway or all the way up and hold. Now keep your gaze steady across the room or floor. Shoulders away from your ears. And then notice those vibrations. Notice that paradox that your body is very still, yet there's a lot of movement. Lifting heels halfway or all the way up, or as high as you can. Release your hands, release your heels, release your heels. And now bring your shoulder blades closer together and pull your hands, your arms back, interlace your fingers. I'm very purposely bringing my shoulder blades closer together. Imagine you're squeezing like a little ball right between your shoulder blades. And then I'm purposely lengthening my elbows. Palms can either touch or not touch. And now I'm lifting my gaze first, and then I'm slowly lifting my chin. Hold, focusing that stretch around the chest and shoulders, length of the arms. Now, bring a little bend to your knees. We're going to fold all the way down to a forward fold, keeping your elbows, your arms extended behind you. Hold here, make sure your neck is relaxed. And now hands to your shins. Let's inhale halfway up. Your back is flat, shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, release, making sure you're softening the neck. Second round. Exhale, release. Third round, inhale halfway up. Exhale, release. This time we're purposely rolling up, and we're rolling up very slowly. You want to experience your arms dangling. You want that experience of letting go. And you're also practicing that ability to slow down and move slowly with your body. That's something you want to cultivate. And then hands can either remain by your hips, palms towards the front, or if you prefer to come into that prayer position or hands in front of the heart center, you can do that. So we're going to ground here through 3 breaths. Let's inhale and exhale. And any of these 3 breaths, if you feel compelled to sigh out, that is acceptable. Now, I emphasize that exhaling, sighing out, just because it invites that level of awareness. It immediately brings you into your body, and it also creates that pleasurable sensation of letting go of tension. If your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes, release your hands here. Sun salutations, let's lift our arms up overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, fold down to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose. Legs are long, release down towards the floor. Your belly can come onto the floor. Hands frame your chest, elbows next to your torso. We extend, tops of the feet on the floor, full extension of that spine and that upward facing dog. Shoulders are away from our ears. And then downward facing dog. Inhale here and exhale. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Hands to shins. We're going to inhale halfway up. Exhale, fold. Sweep your arms up overhead, noticing yourself applying pressure on your heels, lengthening your spine. Noticing left hand press against right hand press against left hand. Inhale here. Exhale, release your hands. Inhale up. Imagine you're gathering the energy of the day. Exhale, fold down, bend your knees. Soften it up. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, let it stop. Step back, plank pose. You want to keep your elbows close to your torso as you're releasing down. They tend to splay open to the sides if you're not aware. Upward facing dog, shoulders are away from your ears. Exhale, downward facing dog. Invite a generous breath in that down dog. Now take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Purposely distribute some weight on your heels as you sweep your arms up overhead, gathering the energy of the day. integrating it down to your heart center. By all means, if you want to move a little quicker or a little slower, go ahead and do that. Third sun salutation, arms lift. Exhale, bend your knees, fold down. Make sure your neck is soft. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Inhale as you step back into your plank pose. And then exhale as you release down towards the floor. Here's that natural inhale as you lift up into your upward facing dog. And then exhale, down dog. Take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Hands to your shins. We inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Sweep your arms up over. You want a total of 5 sun salutations. Start to create your own rhythm. I'll go ahead and cue, but you can move at your own pace. 4th sun salutation. Exhale, release. So whenever we have these sequence of poses, there are opportunities to create your own rhythm, create your own flow, be distracted less by your mind, and just focusing on the movements themselves. And sequence, we create that rhythm, that flow. Inhale up. Exhale. Downward facing dog. We take your gaze between our hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Hands on shins. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Sweep your arms up overhead. And then as we create these flows, our bodies start to create and generate heat. We notice those effects in our bodies, and we welcome an intentional breath to assist us in moving with deeper integrity. Arms lift. Exhale, release. Your breath is your focus and goal. Inhale, up. Exhale, release. Step back, plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Remain here in your downward facing dog. Lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. So you can do this in tabletop. And then release your foot back down towards the floor. Opposite side. Lift your left leg, bend your left knee, stack your hips. Release your foot back down towards the floor. Remain here in your downward facing dog. Now we're going to prepare for pigeon pose. Lift your right leg, bend your knee, stack your hips first. And then we'll take our right knee towards our right elbow, hover, and then release our knee right behind our wrist. We can look behind us, switch that left leg back, make sure it's not in a diagonal. For a moment, you can take your fingertips here on the floor, lengthen the spine, and then start to release. Now, most of your attention is in that right hip. If it's more helpful for you to keep your torso lifted, by all means keep it lifted. You can keep your elbows extended. You can also rest on your forearms. Once again, this time still keeping your head lifted, or you can also drop your head all the way down to a fist or the floor. You're dropping your belly towards the floor. 5 breaths. Exhale. A generous breath here. And then release. We're gonna lift up into a downward facing dog. If you want to take a vinyasa, go ahead and do that. Plank pose, upward facing dog, back to down dog. Otherwise, we're in down dog. Lift our left leg, bend our left knee, stack our hips. And our left knee hovers towards that left elbow, and then release your knee. Check that right leg behind you. Make sure that you step it back. Lengthen the torso, and then just see where that hip opener is for you. You can keep your elbows extended, that's totally fine. Or you can drop forearms towards the floor, forehead on fist or floor. Belly drops down towards the floor, releases that rounding in the lower back. About 5 breaths, soften the neck. Breathe into that boundary. Inhale. And exhale. Release, ground your palms onto the floor, curl that right toe. See if we can lift into a downward facing dog. You can take one last vinyasa of the class, plank pose, upward facing dog, and down dog. Otherwise, we drop our knees down towards the floor. Bring our knees to the edges of our mat, and then shift down into a child's pose. Let's take a moment of rest and pause, collecting our breath. If you have trouble concentrating, just lengthen your inhale and exhale just a little bit. Three more breaths in your child's pose. Breathe into your hips. And after a breath, release your child's pose. We'll come to sit. And then as you come to a sit, you're going to adjust your seat. So you bring your legs out to a V. Lengthen your spine. Provide a little bend to your knees. Actually, let's make sure your heels end up on the mat. So make any adjustments here. Make sure those heels are on the mat. Lengthen your spine. Have a tiny little bend to your knee. Now, leading with your chest, your heart, shift towards the right, or your right foot. And now from here, fold, and your hands can reach anywhere. Thighs, shins, or toes. And focus your cows behind the knee, hamstring. Breathe into your boundary and see if you can pull just a little bit more. Maintain awareness of a deep belly breath. After that breath, release. Opposite side, twist towards the left. Add a little bend to that knee and pull. Belly towards the thigh. And then back to center. As you come back to center, now that we stretched both sides, we're going to go and move towards the center or fold down towards the center. I recommend taking your fingertips right onto your mat and just kind of crawling your fingertips forward. You can slowly invite a little bend to your knees if that supports you, and then find the point where you're comfortable. And then fold and breathe. Deep belly breath. Inhale. Exhale. Release the pose. Very good. We'll bring our legs back together. We'll prepare to lay down on the floor. Bring your palms up. Chin towards chest. You're going to find a point to hover and shaking a spine. Your feet can float off the floor, or you can rest your feet on the floor if that gives you more support. Hold. And then release. Head drops back. Gather your breath. Let's inhale here. Exhale, side out. We're going to bend at both knees. Both feet float off the floor. Massage that lower back, mid back. And now take your hands to your feet. And roll a little bit towards the left and towards the right. You can lengthen both legs. You can widen your leg. There's a lot of different positions here. Just find that final stretch around the toes and heels, calves, down to the hamstrings, glutes, and hips. Lower back. Inhale, exhale, release the pose. We'll start to shift into our final resting pose. Legs long, palms up towards the ceiling. Shift into your Shavasana. The right purposeful pose of not doing. This is the pose we hold the longest in yoga. And it's a pose where we let go, we receive, and integrate our practice. And you do that by welcoming stillness and practicing that ability to soften the body. Let's take one intentional breath here, full deep belly breath. This is the same breath you can go back to throughout your day. Reacquaint yourself with what your full breath is. What does that experience do for you? And feel free to take a couple of deep, full breaths, or you can also return your breath to its natural rhythm. Scan your forehead and jaw. See if you can imagine softening them further. Soften neck and shoulders. Down the length of your arms, from your palms to your fingertips. Release the upper back, mid back, lower back, around the hips. Down to your knees, ankles, and toes. Allow yourself just to observe any thoughts, any sensations without judgment. Just notice. Then you'll start to shift your attention to the breath. Invite a generous and leisurely inhale and exhale. Restore some movement to your fingertips and your toes. Notice the effect of that generous and that leisurely breath. You have the option of inviting a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, inviting a full body stretch, pointing your toes, and or you can turn your body to the left and to the right. Once again, inviting that generous breath. And then you can start to shift into your seated position. You can come to sit on your ankles as I'm demonstrating, or sit in a cross-legged position. Bring awareness to your posture, lengthening your spine, core active, shoulders drawn down. And then we'll take a moment to appreciate our breath, noticing that as we invite our breath, we invite our experience. In gratitude, let's take our hands to our heart center. Intentional breath, inhale here and exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. Namaste.